Welcome to the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, MadMikeWillEatU. My co-host right here is KyleHeath. This is the show where we cover this week's gaming industry-related news, new and upcoming games, technology innovation, esports, and personalities, and just, general gaming industry stuff, maybe a little bit tech, So, Kyle, what have you been up to, man? How you been? What's going on?
Oh,
What have you been doing?
dude,
Tell me it's something new.
I've been good. No, I've been good. I actually have been doing something new, Mike. Playing something
Okay.
new,
Okay.
something that actually came out just recently to Game Pass. So fresh off the Game Pass block. I'm gonna check.
Is it one of the Activision games?
Yeah, it's not an Activision game. I just want to make sure I open up my Xbox app real quick. So the game I was playing this over this past couple days was Light Frontier. And I don't know if you remember this game, but it was covered in one of the. I think it was covered in one of the indie showcases or something we looked at. And it was related to Xbox. But it's
I
it's like
remember
the mech
the art
game
style.
where it's it's a very much like you're thrown on a planet and it's like a survival kind of game where you're just kind of it's like there's a whole there's a little bit of a story behind it. Like there is some lore of you came from another planet and now you're on a new planet trying to discover everything.
Oh, you're cultivating the land so you can survive, right?
Exactly,
or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I saw original trailers for it, and I think I even mentioned on the show, I think it was something that looked really appealing to me because I love the survival stuff. And it was at the time where it's anything like Minecraft, I'm definitely checking out kind of thing, even though it's not really building or anything like that. But
Dude, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, dude, I was playing a lot of that, and I'm a few hours in, and it was a lot of fun. I love the art style, the color, everything about it. It's really awesome. The mech stuff I think is really well done because you're essentially you are just a normal dude, but then you also have a mech that you use to harvest materials and actually navigate around the world.
Very
And
cool.
so that stuff's really fun, and you can there's a whole upgrade tree for your mech too. So there's different tools for chopping down trees and watering plants, and there's a watering hose. There's a suction vacuum hose, so you can actually suck up different resources around the world. So there's a lot of there's a planting thing. It's really cool too. As you're a human, you have a pickaxe, but this pickaxe is also doubles as a carrying mallet. So essentially, it has if you hold a button, the pickaxe turns into this sort of it's almost like a wand. I feel like the best way to describe it. And essentially, it can it's used to pick up items, and you can throw the items too. So if you click a button, you can actually throw it toward say you pick up an item, you throw it at your mech, it goes into the mech's inventory. That's a really
that's
funny,
pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool system to just pick it up, throw it. And you don't have to navigate menus. It's just throw it in your mech. I think the physics too of the mech is just absolutely hilarious because it's your mech. It's very funny because the physics in the game is very there's a lot of realism to it. And so if you're say you're jumping in your mech or you're trying to use your thrusters to boost up somewhere and you miss the mount or you misstep, your mech can essentially tip over, and it's essentially like a cow. It'll just tip over, and then you have to get out and flip it. But the animation of you tipping is hilarious because you just don't expect it. It's just it's just so it's something you feel these mechs would be able to adjust on the fly and stuff like that. But there's a little bit of clunkiness to them, which I think kind of adds some character. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really fun game, and there's a lot of kind of quirks about it. But I think it's one of those things. It's a survival game where there's a lot to do, so it's kind of just there's a lot to harvest, a lot of areas to discover, a lot of things to build, and upgrading your mech is super satisfying. We've already my buddy and I were playing. We've already done a couple upgrades, and it's there's it's already unlocked a bunch of potential. So it's with each upgrade, it feels there's a lot more to do. So I don't know, man. I'm a few hours in, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm definitely gonna check it out some more this week. I think. But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Kind of the main. I don't know. That was the main game I really played this week. I think not too much else.
That's actually pretty awesome because I remember, like you were saying, we definitely saw and reacted to that and thought it was a great art style.
Yeah.
But they didn't really give much information on what it was. So it's pretty cool to hear what you're saying. It's always good to see new games,
Yeah.
And it's an indie game, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's by a small studio. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's been good to see like my buddy and I me and the boys have been really keeping an eye on Game Pass recently, and we'll send each other screenshots if there's something that looks interesting or check out this just came to Game Pass and
yeah.
And my boy downloaded the game. He sent me a screenshot. Apparently it gave him an error at first. We tried to download it, so he's sending that. He's he's I really want to download this and I can't for some reason. But then later on they fixed it. But yeah, it was one of those things that I remember he showed me the Like he sent me the screenshot and everything, and I thought it was kind of funny at the time, but I didn't fully pay attention. And then later on in the day, I was like, wait, I feel like I've seen that game before. And so like I went and checked it out. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the game I wanted to play. And so we hopped on, and it was a lot of
Nice.
fun.
That's always good. I had a group of friends that I would do that with all the time. Like a couple of years ago, when everybody was kind of locked indoors and they couldn't do anything, we
Yeah.
would do the same exact thing and like send each other. And I think we saw totally crazy, like not taxi driver, it was like delivery service, and then
Oh
like
yeah.
Fall Guys we found. Like I think we heard about Fall Guys pretty early, and then that popped off. So it's not really like that unique to get everybody on it, but just smaller studios, unique studios doing trying to do new things was always something we were striving to do, especially on Game Pass, which is
Yeah.
what we've been harping at forever, I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. I mean, it's been I don't know, it's been really cool to see. I feel like Game Pass has really been putting out like bangers the past few months. Like they've started the year off really strong. So it's like
yeah,
it's got me excited for kind of the rest of the year, but especially with
it's kind
Activision going through and everything, it's gonna get crazy. So
exactly. Diablo got added to it. They were the first ones to get added, but it's absolutely kind of crazy how like there's so many people on Twitter that the Xbox PlayStation rivalry still exists. And
yeah,
I don't understand it. It's like I think it's a one-sided affair now. Like PlayStation is very much they've cultivated a fan base that's very obsessed with their IPs. And granted, they have the best IPs. Let's
yeah,
call it what it is. They have so many good IPs. Xbox doesn't really care about IPs anymore, and they also don't care about the consoles. But what they do care about most, I think, is the indie scene and new innovation
right.
of their like games to get as many people on that. And I think that's a bullish business strategy because it's if you can get the indie devs on your platform first and make it easier for them, they're more likely to sign like probably big serious contracts with Microsoft Studios.
Yeah, like further
And
down the
then
line.
yeah, exactly, for their like future IPs. And the other one is it inspires Microsoft's already existing studios to kind of rip off the indie devs, which it seems like everybody's doing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's what it seems like for sure. Yeah, I've been like hearing things about like AAA and all that, and kind of how indies are more of a focus. I feel like, and I don't know. We've been talking about it. Like you're looking for new experiences. Like indies the way to go. So, like
100%.
it's just the
Or go
facts.
back to like retro,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
old school
exactly. Or
stuff.
just go because there's so many older games too that people just haven't checked out, and it's like it's
Oh
probably a
yeah,
lot
man.
you missed, and there's a lot to catch up on. The current
Yeah,
landscape isn't doing it for you. So
yeah. There's like a lot of like hidden GameCube games that people have never played before,
yeah,
and they could have a serious opportunity to go get a Wii. You can like some of them are backwards compatible, and you can play some.
yeah,
Be very fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Mike, gotta hear about what you did
Yes.
this week. Just playing the games.
Yeah, I actually played plenty of games, some new ones. Really like some IRL stuff though. Bought new running shoes, as you know, they came in today. Very excited. So
Hey.
that's a goal for me. Get back into the running game, especially with the weather getting nicer. Got to take care of yourself so you can game longer, healthy. you know. Um, but yeah, over the weekend, honestly, I watched a couple of new HBO stuff. Tokyo Vice, which is a pretty cool series.
Oh,
If you're
dude.
interested, you got that. Yeah.
I didn't tell you about it. I saw a recent docuseries too on HBO. I didn't even talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll have to get into that. But yeah, so the launch on so there are a couple of things that happened. Battlefront collection collector's edition or whatever. Wait, Battlefront Classic Collection, I think it is what it was
Yeah, the
called.
name is just love it.
Yeah, it launched broken, incomplete, and trash.
Yeah, I heard
So
that.
that
Yep.
kind of yeah, and then the next day, the Insignia team, which is kind of under the radar, it's like a modding team that basically has been trying to bring the old Xbox Live servers back to life. They're kind of emulating or recreating the Xbox Live servers in the games by running their own servers. Like yeah. So they finally finished with Halo 2. So if you get on Halo 2 now on the classic Xbox, as long as you're like register an account and you're installed, it's all free. Because I'm pretty sure they get sued into oblivion if they charge money.
Yeah.
Um, but what ends up happening is like you can log into the game, you can send messages, do group chat, voice comms still work. Uh, the ranks are there. You can do quick play, like all classic stuff that used to exist back in the day. And I've been playing that a little bit. That's been fun. The other thing I recently started with my friends is Helldivers 2. I finally got on that, And holy crap, that game is so much fun, man.
Democracy.
I've been spreading democracy, liberating the galaxy, one planet at a time. It's a lot of fun. My friends were just having a blast, and we're trying to get used to the game, like really understand what's going on. I won't lie to you. There's been a couple times we've just been murked because nobody understands the best way to take out the aliens, and it's just funny because we're all relatively casual nowadays, like when we're together.
Yeah.
So we're not going over the top to find out like what the meta is or to find out the best way to take out a tank or like what weapons to use. We're just like, yeah, let's just jump into it. Screw it. Skip the tutorial as much as we can. Yeah, it's funny. This you might relate to this. So you've watched, I think it's Community with Ron Swanson,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The
Well,
character.
yeah.
Have you seen the meme where he's walking in like Home Depot or Lowe's, then the employees there is just like, "Hey, sir, is there anything I can help you with?" And he just looks over and he goes, "I know more than you." And then he's like, "What the hell?" And just keeps going. That's basically how we feel in our 30s playing video games and get a tutorial. It's like we know more than you.
It's like, we're used to this.
Just stop. Hey, it's a shooter. They're all the same. Okay, AWSD with the mouse. You're good to go. There's only a few things that actually change. Yeah, so that's basically what we've been doing. Just a little bit of Helldivers, a little bit of Halo 2. Yeah, that's all I got for you, man.
Helldivers. Yeah. So someday I may play that game. I don't know. Let's see.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
$40. It was on sale on one website. I gotta find if you want to get it, it'd be 33. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
easy
know.
enough.
I know some sites.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But we've been rambling for a while, man. Why don't we start getting into the articles? What do you think?
I agree. Fully, wholeheartedly.
Let's get it.
Let's go, baby. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about Epic Games sometimes on the show. It's honestly overall, like in terms of a service, I'd say pretty good. I enjoy like using it every now and again. It does differentiate, splits up between all the different clients and launchers. You got Steam, Epic Games, all that.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah,
and so it can get kind of crazy. But from a development perspective, there's been kind of much talks whether it's Unity or Unreal. Like there's been so much talks about revenue and what developers can make if they publish their games within a certain ecosystem. So there was some news that came out this week. We pulled from Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson. He said that Epic Games is offering 100% revenue to developers for the first 6 months. It's very cool stuff here. Epic Games has announced that it will be offering developers 100% of revenue generated for the first 6 months if the game is signed exclusively to the Epic Games Store. The announcement came during GDC and is part of Epic's new Now on Epic program. Epic had previously introduced one of the best revenue splits of the industry at 88% to developers and 12% to Epic Games, but the move marks a new stage for the publisher. As outlined in the Epic Games blog, after 6 months of 100% revenue to developers, the revenue split will go back to the publisher standard 88-12. For developers, the announcement could mean a huge increase in revenues as the majority of game sales generally happen within the first few months of a game's release. Participating in this program requires a commitment to release a minimum of 3 products that have been released prior to October 31st, 2023, and are currently live on another third-party PC storefront, or are included in a third-party subscription service. Participants that do not have 3 products currently live that meet the above criteria must bring over all products that are live. All participating products must launch by June 30th of 2025, though they do not need to launch on the Epic Games Store at the same time. So some like Q&A kind of questions follow kind of some of that Epic answers. What do we think initially, Mike, about this? Giving more revenue to developers up front.
I think it comes at the cost of exclusivity. That's the only thing. You have to bring all of your other games over, and you have to promise to essentially bring 3 further games. This is probably an attractive like offer to, I would guess, like small to medium-sized developer, not the true AAAs, because the AAAs want to be on every single platform possible,
Right?
or have their own, right? But this could be very attractive for an up-and-coming studio, I would imagine. Not really sure. What do you think?
Yeah, it's no, I agree pretty much fully. I think it could be a good idea for a smaller studio, want to release a couple things. Then this could be a good opportunity to get as much bang for your buck as you can initially. Again, it's at the cost of exclusivity. Epic Games, I mean, I think the one thing Epic doesn't have, which I've heard rumors of in the past, is some sort of like subscription service. I think it'd be pretty cool for Epic Games. I mean, I know it may be contrary to what we've been kind of discussing sometimes when it comes to like, um, exclusivity and like not owning your stuff kind of thing. Because I mean, but like,
Yeah.
even now though, you don't like own anything you buy, right? Even if it's like,
No, not
on the
truly.
service. So I mean, it's, I don't know, that ship has sailed to a certain extent, but it's, something to keep in mind, I guess. It'd be interesting to see if Epic were to do a subscription service model at this point, I think. So a little bit more, they mentioned the Now on Epic program. They talk about this a little bit. So the Now on Epic program is a back catalog incentive program that offers developers and publishers the opportunity to boost their net revenue from user spending on eligible products from 88% to 100% in the first 6 months after release on the Epic Game Store for any game released before October 31st and another third-party PC store or included in a third-party subscription service. The product has been available for 6 months on the store. The revenue split will go back down to 88/12. Like we mentioned, you can enroll for the program until December 31st of 2024, and all eligible products must be released on the store by June 30th of 2025.
Ooh,
so there
you're on
is
kind of a time crunch.
a little bit of a deadline,
Possible.
right? Like, especially if you're just starting out now, it could be nearly impossible to make that. I feel like.
Yeah, it depends on like the demand of your game, really. But you could have a major hit,
Yeah.
in the first 6 months, just something pops off. Like you never know. That could be really beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's certainly some benefit to be had here, I think. So do early access products qualify for the Now on Epic program? It's a good question. The answer is yes. Any products released on or as early access are eligible for the program. So,
Okay.
a little leeway, I think. Maybe not to rush out nearly as quick. But yeah, it is available to all Epic developer accounts too. So pretty much anyone who's registered in that regard has the opportunity to try and take part. But yeah, overall it's very interesting. I think it's like we were saying, it's more tailored to the kind of smaller devs, but seems like there's some opportunity there. I mean, the thing about Epic too, what's interesting is that I mean the 88/12 split's kind of nuts already, like
It is.
compared to other like outlets. So that's pretty nuts. And then but it could be. I'll be interested to see if this actually has any sort of effect on bringing maybe smaller to medium or smaller medium titles on Epic as opposed to another platform.
I bet they're trying to bet on it happening so that they don't like have to. I don't know. Maybe this is coming towards. Maybe this is all timed perfectly for the true launch of Unreal Engine 5 and the more adaptations that new developers can use with the new engine. Because Unreal Engine's owned by Epic Games, is it not?
Yeah, it sure is.
So possibly what they're betting on is to try to get new devs in using the new engine. And it's like, oh, you're already using our engine. You already have our support, like customer service kind of already. Why don't you go ahead and publish the game? Maybe we'll have like an easy port or something, like an
Yeah.
optimization thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting program. I mean, we'll see kind of, if it works in their favor. It is for 6 months, so it's not like a crazy long time in retrospect, like when you really think about it. But
No.
good on Epic for trying to make, give developers incentive if they want to try and make a little more money.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea overall. It's definitely a more attractive option than a couple of other platforms, I would think. And it's got to give some new devs that want to seek a home for their game a lot to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, show. There's someone that has a lot to think about over this past week. That
Oh jeez.
oh
I
man,
can't believe this happened, man. I really
yeah,
can't.
I can't either. It's interesting new
Yeah.
cheating updates, Mike. I'm seeing.
All right. Let me switch from my dark mode to light mode because the text doesn't appear. So if you just saw my face get super bright, that's why. um, let me let me get this right. Okay. So what the title of the article is from Andy Chalk 2 or 3 days ago, is on PC Gamer. It's called "Easy Anti-Cheat Washes Its Hands of the Apex Legends hacking disaster that saw streamer accounts hijacked live. There is no RCE. vulnerability with EAC. What is
Hacked
REC?
Dive. I'm hoping they talk about that because I, honestly, God, I have no idea.
Yeah, I hope so. They can't just abbreviate something.
I mean,
What
I
is
saw
that?
I saw that all
Explain
over
me.
the place on like Twitter and stuff. I was like, what does that mean? Anyway.
RCE. Okay, let's get into it. So the North American Finals of the Apex Legends Global Series was postponed after 2 matches suffered hacks. Ooh, buddy. All right. So the day after the North American Finals of the Apex Legends Global Series was postponed because of a mid-match hack against 2 players, Easy Anti-Cheat has issued a statement saying there is no RCE vulnerability in its software that was exploited to carry out the attack. Can you double check what RCE is so we don't have to abbreviate it
RC,
every
yeah,
time?
yeah. I got a phone right here.
All right. So the first hack against Noyan uh, Jen Burton. Sorry, I'm not big into the ALGS. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna butcher this. Jen Burton of Dark Zero took place during the third match of the day. He was suddenly able to see every other player on the map, even through walls, and was ultimately forced to drop out of the match. Although his teammates managed to claim second place, even though they were a man down, the second hack occurred in the next match. Imperial Hal, who I think we've watched tons of times
Yeah.
on the Titan of an org TSM, suddenly found himself saddled with an aimbot. That match was ultimately abandoned, and the North American finals were postponed due to competitive integrity of the series being compromised.
So, man.
Remote code execution. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So it's either,
Oh,
yeah. So
jeez.
they said it's like it's remote code execution, also known as arbitrary code execution. Essentially, it's
Okay.
the attacker's ability to run any commands or code on the attacker's choice on a target machine or in a target process. Vulnerability is a security flaw in software or hardware allowing arbitrary code execution or remote code execution, like you were saying.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
The only I think you know more about this than I do, but I'm pretty sure you're invading somebody's computer.
I mean,
Are you
yeah, that
not?
rate. Yeah, like you have to have some sort
Yeah.
of access, right?
Yeah, so isn't that a felony, I think? I'm
Which
pretty
I mean,
sure
this is the thing.
pretty sure it
Like,
is.
yeah, I think look, like it shouldn't be done in the first place, but there's also probably a possibility that if it's done through the game, they probably have some sort of like backdoor into someone's like executable or something like that through the game somehow, some sort of
Yeah.
vulnerability that lets them like run against like the game code or something like that. That's probably my guess. I don't know if it's necessarily like this is the thing. I mean, this happened to two different people, so I highly doubt they were both exploited, like through like phishing or something like that to try and get access to the machine. I think it was very much
No,
something within the game, right? Like,
yeah, these guys that are this big of like Imperial Hal is one of the biggest streamers in Apex.
yeah,
That guy, has security measures, I'm sure. He probably has like really good firewalls. He probably like uses VPNs on the regular to like hide his identity and
no,
location to make sure he's safe.
no,
If
probably
he's not,
has.
then he is wild.
Yeah, he
you
probably
know?
has passwords written down in a vault under lock and key.
Oh yeah, dude.
uh,
I would 100% do that. If I was a big time streamer or content creator, absolutely, I'm locking everything down.
yeah, it's yeah, you gotta take those measures, but yeah, like I said, it's got to be some sort of vulnerability that was found in Easy Anti Cheat that they could just backdoor this execution onto their game. That's kind of just like here we are.
Oh, jeez. All right. So, how about we get into this a little bit further? The article continues. Shortly afterward, the Anti-Cheat Police Department, a volunteer group that specializes in quotes, gathering intelligence on cheats to detect and disrupt cheating vendors, issued a statement saying that an RCE, a remote code execution, was being abused in the game, and that it was unclear whether it comes from the game or the actual anti-cheat software. Remote code execution exploits enabled attackers to run software on remote machines. And they are bad news. An RCE was responsible for suspension of PC PvP servers for Dark Souls games in 2022. A similar vulnerability, mumbling over here, was discovered in GTA Online in 2023. In this case, as Anti-Cheat PD put it, RCE is being abused to inject cheats into streamers' machines, which means they have the capabilities to do whatever, like installing ransomware software and
Oh,
locking up your
nah.
entire PC. That is a
So,
lawsuit waiting to
so
happen, bro.
So I just want to go on record by saying I am completely wrong that it could go past the actual game itself. I did not realize it was that much of a vulnerability. That is insane.
That's
Oh
insane.
my god, that is so scary. Oh my god.
I did hear from somebody in a Discord. Now I didn't want to say it until that just got done. But they told me, they were like, if you have Apex installed, they were recommending you uninstall Windows and
That is
reinstall it
insane.
because it could be vulnerable.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
yeah, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, uninstall Apex at the very minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have it on your machine right now.
Wild.
Dude, that is. I mean, granted, most people aren't going to be targets. I feel like, but
Most people know.
But like, this is like, I mean, dude, if you're Hal or something like that, if I'm like your security guy, I'm telling you to change everything. Like, I don't care. Like, you need to like all your passwords and stuff like that. You need to just you need to act like you are fully hacked at this point, because that's not good.
Bro, if I'm a pro player and like I know it's your job, right? And you're a professional streamer, this is how you make your money. I would immediately uninstall everything and basically go talk to a lawyer. Like straight up, because it's like it's your livelihood, it's your personal security and safety that's at risk because of an exploit.
Like at this rate, like at this rate, to me, it's kind of house on fire. Like, just take care of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like just be careful, take care of it, kind of thing.
This is wild. Holy crap. Okay, so how this attack happened still isn't known, but earlier today, Easy Anti-Cheat issued a statement disavowing responsibility. Of course, because they know they'll get sued into oblivion. We have investigated recent reports of potential RCE issue within Easy Anti-Cheat, it tweeted. At this time, we are confident there is no RCE vulnerability within EAC being exploited. We will continue to work closely with our partners for any follow-up support needed. Okay, that's a CYA note if I've ever seen one in my life.
Yeah. Doesn't get them out
easy
of the
anti-cheat.
It doesn't get easy. It doesn't get easy anti-cheat out of the weeds on that. But like, they still have to make sure they do due diligence. But
I just had a bit.
Also,
oh no,
easy anti-cheat, Mike. Like you were just saying, not the best. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
it's been exploited so many times.
Like, dude, in Halo Master Chief Collection, people are cheating all the time. And easy anti-cheats in that. They recently moved Halo Infinite from their anti-cheat, which obviously doesn't exist. People have been cheating since day one that game came out. Freaking morons over there. And they switched from their anti-cheat over to easy anti-cheat. It's like, if this comes out that easy anti-cheat is the one that had the exploit, and they're basically denying any type of responsibility, like, bro, I'm chalking every game that has easy anti-cheat into the sun. And there are a good list over here. Okay, so making the statement that I just read even more notable is the fact that it's first time Easy Anti-Cheat has tweeted. Oh, that's the first time it's tweeted since May 2019. Holy moly. 5 years, basically. Clearly, the company considers it an important issue, and for good reason. Rooting out where the vulnerability lies in Easy Anti-Cheat or Apex Legends itself is hugely important, as it could determine whether this RCE is contained to one game or potentially deployable in other games that use Easy Anti-Cheat. That's what I'm getting at, which is Fortnite, War Thunder, Lost Ark, Elden Ring, and Hunt Showdown. Fortnite, imagine dude, that's like, how many millions of people have played Fortnite at least once that are exposed?
I love too at the end, like, it lists 5 games, and then he says to name a few. Like, there's a lot of easy anti-cheat games. Dude. This is the thing, like
Halo.
I want to be optimistic about this for easy anti-cheat's sake, and just say that it's a vulnerability with Apex, because we haven't seen this exploit. Like, aside from what, like, they mentioned GTA had it. There's like one other like thing that had it, was like a mod or something like that. But like, outside of that, I mean, we haven't seen any broad issues with RCEs across like other games. So it makes me optimistic for easy anti-cheat. However, like, if it comes out that they find a vulnerability, oh man, that's rough, because there's a lot of questions they're gonna have to answer, and there's gonna be some new probably anti-cheat software coming up to try and steal their crown. Because
I think RCE, now that we know what it is, I consider that to be more malicious. Because when I see people that cheat in video games, it's mostly like to troll or to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bullying tactic in a gaming sense.
Yeah, like, it's I don't know. It's for them, right? Like it's not
Yes.
like it's not for anyone else, or it's not
Yeah.
intrusive, I guess is the best way to say.
Yeah, but to log into somebody else's machine, essentially, and
Yeah.
then rewrite the code live,
To have that
dude.
kind of backdoor is just terrifying, I think. If you're
They have access. If they have access to that, they literally have access to every single folder in your computer,
yeah.
probably including the remnants that are left behind when you try to delete them.
Better not store
But
passwords in any text files on your machine, or you're donezo. And this,
or your
like,
browser
like,
extensions and stuff.
like,
You're
yeah,
done.
like, see, I, the thing, like, I'm not like super well versed in it, but I'm fairly confident in stuff aside from like a breach to like a LastPass or like a keeper or something like that. Aside from like a
Oh yeah.
direct breach, it's pretty difficult to get access to like they have a lot of security measures in place on the browser side to make it so that like if your browser data is somehow stolen, like it's not gonna there's no way they can get into that because it's very isolated. And I've heard of issues too of like I got hit with a Discord exploit last year from someone that like was someone I went to college with, and they were like a computer engineer, like
They're trying to mess with
they
you.
were like a programmer, and like someone it's a really funny story. Someone from Turkey, like some random guy, somehow hacked their Discord account and started spamming other people, and and it was someone that I knew in college as a software engineer. They were talking about making a game, and so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like surely it's like okay, like yeah, sure, I'll check out your game. I should have known from the start it was bad, and I shouldn't have done anything. It was my fault. But like I ended up like downloading some random extension, and then before
Oh
I knew it,
no.
they had access to my Discord account. They started like messaging other people. I'm like freaking out. This is a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. You absolutely need to have 2FA on anything you have, because
Oh,
2FA was what saved me. If I didn't have 2FA, like it would have probably taken me months to get my account back, and it just would have been like toast. But like
Yeah.
thankfully I had 2FA, so they could not update my password or anything like that, and I was able to just like log them out like remotely, and then I was able to change my stuff. But like I remember at the time I was like panicking, like one of my roommates like
Swipe.
I was hitting him, I was like, dude, like I don't know what they have, like freaking out. I'm like sitting there, I have some password managers and stuff like that too, so I'm like freaking out thinking they may have got access to that. I'm like changing all sorts of passwords. Thankfully it was just Discord and it was isolated to that. But it's like but I think it's like when I did more research further into what exactly they did,
Yeah.
I saw kind of what they get access to, and essentially what it is those it's a thing to never I learned from that day to never ever use a password manager that's in browser, whether it's like Chrome's password manager, Firefox password manager. Never use an in browser password manager, because it is actually surprising how easy it is to extract that out of the actual like browser data itself, and so it like renders it useless because it's pretty easy to get. So like I don't know, from that I'd already been using password managers before that were outside of browsers, so like I was good. But like that's if anything that's a
Could get
lesson
cooked.
to yeah, you could easily get cooked if you store passwords and account information or even credit card information, anything that inside your browser. It's
Yeah.
just not a good idea, because that stuff is
Oh, I
actually
never
easier
do.
to get than you think.
Ever.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, all that to say, like this RCE, someone gets access to that, has access to stuff in your PC. It's like, oh baby,
GG's.
GG's, dude. Better get a antivirus software and start scanning, dude.
I got some crazy stories I could give you about all the different hacking that I've seen happen,
Yeah,
especially at like places I've worked, holding entire servers ransom.
yeah,
Just
that's
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, I don't know. Be careful of, especially in the workplace stuff. Be careful of emails. Be careful of random like communications. It gets pretty nuts. But yeah, but in this, it's like, see, it's scary for something like this though, is because it's like I'm going on a limb and assuming that Imperial Hal did nothing to make himself vulnerable. It's just literally entirely like through something out of his control, which is like really scary. So
It's absolutely terrifying. But how about we go ahead and wrap up the rest of this article, because there's a couple of things about Epic Online Services that they tweeted out and gave in a statement. So after that, we'll just go ahead and jump to the next article. So the article continues on saying Epic Online Services later confirmed the statement in a separate tweet. So the separate tweet was, "We have investigated recent reports of potential RCE issue in the Apex Legends, which we have confirmed to be unrelated to Easy Anti-Cheat. We are confident there is no RCE vulnerability with EAC being exploited." Kind of interesting because Epic Games acquired Easy Anti-Cheat in 2018. So
Interesting.
Maybe they're, yeah, I didn't know that. So this is new to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, reacting to EAC's tweet, Anti-Cheat PD said it indicates the issue lies with the source engine itself, which Apex Legends uses. And that could be similarly to a vulnerability detailed in 2021. So Respawn has yet to comment on the hack. So big question, how did this happen? And what's the risk of playing Apex Legend? Remains unanswered. There are also no indication about at this point for North American finals of the ALGS will resume, but it's fair to assume that is not going to happen until Respawn is confident the game is secured. I've reached out to EA for comment and will update if I receive a reply. And that last little statement is from Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer, which is wild that they have no idea yet. Now, this was a couple of days ago, and by the time this episode comes out, maybe we're going to have an actual release of what the heck happened.
Yeah.
So
I want to know the conclusion, that's for sure. So
absolutely, dude. This is insane. Anyways, shall we jump into the next one?
Yeah.
Just jump right into it.
Yeah, I would say be careful with things, but there's no way to be careful about that because it's not your fault. Anyway, so we move on. We got to talk about Embracer Group, Mike. Embracer Group. Embracer Group and Saber Interactive part ways in a deal reportedly worth $500 million. It's coming from Darren Bonthies. I just totally guessed the last name on the fly. The dome. But it's from GameSpot. So Embracer Group and Saber Interactive officially parted ways as a group of private investors purchased the game developer in a deal currently valued at $247 million. Private investors in the Beacon Interactive Group, an organization founded and controlled by Saber Interactive co-founder Matthew Karch, purchased the company, and Embracer added that it'll also cease all operations in Russia. Deal will see Saber Interactive retain control of several of its studios, while Embracer Group will hold on to the rest. Nimble Giant, 3D Realms, Sandbox Strategies, and several other studios will remain with Saber Interactive, while Embracer Group will retain studios like Aspire and Beamdog. Saber Interactive Saber Interactive also had the option to purchase Metro developer 4A Games and Pinball Effects developer Zen Studios. The new CEO, Matt Karch, was reportedly already done so via stock options, increasing the true value of the purchase price to around $50 million, according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. In a letter obtained, and Jason said in a letter to staff obtained by Bloomberg News, the Saber CEO confirms that they've already decided to take 4A and Zen, despite messaging from Embracer suggesting that it may retain the two studios. Embracer will also retain publishing rights to 14 games currently in development at Saber, as well as 2 joint projects with Beacon Interactive. These include 4A Games' next AAA project, a previously announced game, possibly Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, or Aspire's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, provided that the latter hasn't been canceled. Killing Floor 3 tear down several more AAA and AA games, present and future Metro games, and a full upcoming pipeline and back catalog from Zen Studios, Aspire, and Tripwire will also continue to be published by Embracer. Quote, this is the first transaction of the previously mentioned structured processes and marks a small but important step in our journey to transform Embracer into the future for the benefit of all employees, gamers, and shareholders. Embracer's boss, Lars Wingfors, said in a statement announcing the deal. How are you feeling so far, Mike? Embracer? Letting some stuff go, keeping some stuff?
Yeah, breaking apart things that is kind of weird because there's been so much merging and acquisitions that's been going on the last 5 years. I don't like the fact, personal note, I don't like the fact that Aspire is doing a Knights of the Old Republic remake after the completely botched Battlefront.
Oof.
That's not very exciting, but that's not what this article is about. What's your take about these two guys splitting up?
Yeah, so far, I'm thinking, I'm like, it's, I don't think too much of it, in all honesty. I think both parties, it sounds like it was kind of a mutual thing. And I don't know, for what it seems like so far, it seems like it's kind of just, we're both going our separate ways, but kind of continuing what we're continuing sort of thing. So it's like, it's not really too much going on.
Independently. Yeah.
Let me continue on the article a little bit. So, after going on a massive buying spree over several years, Embracer began to initiate massive cost-cutting procedures, similar to other video game industry layoffs, in the wake of an alleged $2 billion investment from the Saudi-backed fund falling through. The last 6 months, the company confirmed it had canceled 29 unannounced games and laid off nearly 1,400 people. Ooh.
Big boo. That's a lot. Cancel 29 unannounced games in 6
crazy.
months.
It's crazy.
Holy moly, dude.
A new Deus Ex game was reportedly canceled, while Saints Row studio Volition and Timesplitters developer Free Radical have been shut down by Embracer's cost-cutting measures. RIP.
Yeah, we covered that.
Yeah. Hundreds of other game developers have been laid off. Borderlands Studios' Gearbox Entertainment is rumored to be up for sale if Embracer can find a buyer. So, also kind of quick wrap up of the studios. Saber Interactive, Beacon Interactive Studios. They have Nimble Giant, 3D Realms, Sandbox Strategies, New World Interactive, Slipgate Ironworks, sorry. Madhead Games. You have Fractured Byte and Digic. Digic? It sounds kind of...
I think, Digic. Yeah.
Digic. Studios remaining with Embracer Group include Tripwire, Beamdog, Tuxedo Labs, Demiurge, I like that. Shiver, Aspire, Snapshot, 34 Big Things. What's the name of your studio, Mike? 34 Big Things.
That's a good point.
It's like
Tripwire is a good name. To be honest,
I like Tripwire. Does it say Tuxedo Labs is funny? I think. Snapshot, 34 Big Things seems like. I mean, hey, it's your studio, not mine. But it's, interesting. But yeah, I think it was the end of the article. Wasn't really like too much kind of like crazy stuff with this, but it's just interesting to see that kind of these two studios are parting ways. It seems like Saber Interactive still has a decent stake of what they have in terms of stocks and kind of the buyout. So, I'll be interested to see if this affects anything kind of down the line with game releases or announcements. But it seems like for the most part, it's kind of just like, we're splitting our ways, but we're still kind of on track for most of what we're doing.
Yeah, like business as usual, but operate separately. Maybe we can divide and conquer kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I think all those acquisitions have really impacted Embracer. Otherwise, they wouldn't be over here selling like pretty big studio heads.
Yeah.
Not studio heads, but like studios.
Yeah. They're talking about rumored to sell Gearbox, which have been rumored for a while now. It's kind of like...
Yeah, it has.
See?
Yeah, we'll see how this ends up. I'm kind of disappointed in some of the studios and some of the games they've been pushing out the last couple of years. And the fact that they haven't been that successful kind of shows like there's a little bit more financial reasons for that, possibly. Yeah.
Dude, what's going on with Battlefront, Mike? What are we, I was hearing, like you mentioned it, and I was hearing that there was like a bad launch, dude. What's going on?
All right, I'll give you the roll down, okay? Here's what happened. They took Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1 from the original Xbox, the original editions, remade it, put it on Steam. Okay, should be simple enough, right? Just direct port, or maybe like direct port, optimize, stuff like that. Like if something like a 4.5, 5 gigabyte game. Keep in mind, I don't even think it was that big. There's 8 gigabyte hard drives in the original Xbox. Okay, now you're running off the disc. Calm down. But overall, that's like the original size of the original Xbox hard drive. So the games aren't that big, right? They somehow turned Battlefront 1 and 2, which is probably like less than 5 gigs total, into 75 gigs. No significant upgrades. In fact, there were regresses. Some multiplayer modes did not work. This is a game you have to pay for, by the way. 64 people are in each game. And it worked fine on the Xbox Live. It worked fine. But for some reason, they only had 3 servers online. So 10,000 people bought the game on release, tried to play it, servers crashed, wait times didn't work, the game was fundamentally flawed and broken, and they got a review bombed into oblivion. There were 3,000 reviews in less than a couple of hours, or not 3,000, 1,000 reviews in less than a couple of hours, 21% review rating. So everybody hated it. And it makes me very upset that a beloved franchise IP like that has been botched 3 times now in a row. So I'm a little bit tilted, but I also have my original Xbox. There's a play date on Insignia that I talked about before, similar, the kind of hack to revitalize the Xbox Live servers. I'm doing play dates on Friday, and I'm playing on that. Hopefully it's going to be good. It should be. And I get to keep all my progress too, which is the biggest thing. Because in that game, you had to grind your face off You had to grind like 10,000 kills to get extra burst weapons and stuff. It's wild. They had like performance boosts as you go on kill streaks. You would make stronger guns that you're holding. Yeah. Anyways, that's my rant.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's so disrespectful to that franchise and that legacy of that game. Like, they're just botching it again
and again and again. And
crazy.
that's my fear about Aspire and Knights of the Old Republic, and that's why, yeah, a little bit disappointed.
Yeah. I'm starting to get disappointed about something else myself. Not gonna lie.
Oh,
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Is it Bungie?
Yeah, just a little bit.
People are like really upset about Bungie all the time now, and I've noticed it's like coming out of the PlayStation camp.
Yeah, it's
really,
it's been. I think it's been weird with the Destiny stuff, and then on top of that, it's just like more sort of. I mean, I know I share with you. And I take all this with a grain of salt typically because it's normally like anonymous sources, so it's hard to say like what's like the validity of some stuff. But there's like been rumors too of like some employees, especially at Sony, kind of saying that they're not really happy with how Bungie's been performing, and it's like the acquisition wasn't working out as well as they thought it was going to at this point. So I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff, but it's hard to say if that's valid or not.
Yeah, when you end up firing your studio heads halfway through Destiny 1 and then the story doesn't make any sense and you do the same thing for Destiny 2. However, Destiny 2 is significantly better.
Yeah.
And the games are launching broken and Bungie is also working on Marathon. It could be interesting. But let's just dive into what this article is about. And I'm sure it's going to address a lot of these points I've just made. So this article is from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. The title is Bungie replaces Marathon director amid leadership shakeup. There are fears of layoffs. Former Valorant game director Joe Ziegler is replacing Christopher Barrett. So Joe, we've talked about multiple times actually about how like he's not a bad game director, so this could be a good thing.
Yeah,
possibly. We've at least heard the replacement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so amid ongoing anxiety within Bungie following layoffs last year, the studio is now preparing for another shakeup, this time on Marathon. Its upcoming service game intended as its next step beyond Destiny. I know a lot of people in the Halo sphere, because I'm kind of ingrained in there, they're really excited for Marathon just because they want to see Bungie make a new game and have the right time to do it.
I mean, I would say personally, I'm excited to see a new IP out of Bungie. I mean, I feel like, I don't know who wouldn't be. I mean, it's Bungie, There's a lot of history.
I just want to see a good studio with a good reputation make a good game, and it feels like that's so rare.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean,
yeah. Well, Bungie might not have the best reputation in the world. They got crunch like culture and stuff. But I mean, they're not Activision.
Yeah, they're
they
they're
got
not
that going for them.
They're not Naughty Dog.
Blizzard.
Hey, a lot of issues. I mean, at least I will say I have a lot of respect for Naughty Dog at trying to make. They're making a serious effort to actually correct the problem. So it's like, it's hard to say. I think for a lot of them, but
to me, it's all about progress. As long as you're heading in the right direction, you can't really like. You always have that like caveat. It's like, oh, they did this, that, and the other. It's really bad, but it's like, but if you've seen them in the last like 6 months, they've really tried to correct it. It's like that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's actually get into this article now. So, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter, Bungie is in the midst of shifting around its creative leadership on Marathon, including longtime Bungie director Christopher Barrett from the game director role. IGN learned he is being replaced by former Valorant game director Joe Ziegler, who left Riot Games for Bungie in 2022, which I'm pretty certain we definitely covered.
I think so, yeah.
Or the year before. I know we covered this for sure. So IGN has reached out to Bungie for comment on whether or not Barrett is it Barrett or Brett?
I want to say it's Barrett, but I could be wrong.
Barrett. I know Barrett is with one T.
Yeah, is it?
Right? I think so.
I have no
Barrett,
idea.
Barrett, whatever.
I don't
know. Chris. That's what we'll call him, Chris. Or made with the company. Bungie has not yet responded to IGN's request for comment, but shortly after we reached out to Ziegler, Ziegler confirmed his appointment as game director on X or Twitter. And Oh, this is actually the extended quote. So, for the last 9 months, I've been working on Marathon as the game director. We are still baking, but I'm excited to share with you more info on the game as we get closer and closer to bringing it to all of you. Pretty sick. So while this is going on, sources tell IGN that Bungie is pouring resources into getting Marathon out the door. The game's direction has shifted somewhat under Ziegler's new leadership, one source says, including moving away from custom player characters in a favorable of a selectable cast of heroes.
Ooh, I know Mike's perspective on customization and making characters your own. I know how you feel about this.
Yeah, man. Like if you can't actually like vicariously throw yourself into a game and make yourself immersive and have that customizability and identification. And Bungie games are this themselves. Every single Halo game that Bungie made, you could create your character, make it similar to yourself. And for Halo 1 and Halo CE and Halo 2, it was all about the colors and what you could do with that, and maybe your emblem, whatever. But Halo 3, ODST, Reach, I mean, Reach in particular, the most fascinating thing is to become the Spartan itself.
Yeah.
And you can do that with Bungie's Destiny, both
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Customize that. So why are you shifting away? I guess
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I think to kind of support your claim too, I feel like custom characters are great for like a multiplayer experience and like
Yes.
in like more selectable cast of characters or something like that. I feel like that's more favorable in like a maybe a single player or co-op style of game, whether it's like a it's a select, it's like an actual campaign kind of thing. I feel I at least get the feeling from Marathon, it's like multiplayer game, but you're it's kind of continual, right? And so yeah, I mean I kind of agree with you in that respect. Because I don't know, like, and not saying this is the reason a lot of live service games are successful, but like we see it with whether it's like the Avengers game or the DC game that came out recently. It's like, and now don't get me wrong, those characters are awesome, and I'm not necessarily saying that again. Not saying that's the reason, but like in a live service game like this, I feel like having some sort of ownership over how your character looks, I think is just like a nice to have. That is a really nice to have. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to be honest. But let's see what the direction might be. Maybe we get some insight here. So Marathon over Matter. While upcoming Destiny 2 expansion, The Final Shape, is also being prioritized, there are growing fears and rumors that layoffs will immediately follow its release. One person with knowledge of budgets at Bungie told me that nothing adds up. Oh, I feel that. Feel that in my own life. And something will need to happen to curb costs unless The Final Shape does so well to cover the gap and people can move to Marathon. When Sony acquired Bungie, the studio brought with it a number of other incubation projects, including a MOBA like game codenamed Gummy Bears and the new IP known as Matter. According to sources, Matter was canceled back in 2020, but the team continued working on a similar project with slightly different direction until that too was canceled in late 2022. Gummy Bears, meanwhile, is currently in a holding pattern due to the ongoing company struggles. Within the company, there's a growing expectation that senior company leadership will leave in droves in the summer of 2026 when the final payouts from Sony's acquisition of the company take effect. That has happened. So my company goes through a lot of acquisitions. That happens every single time. When we acquire a new acquisition, they stay for the length of the contract. The moment that contract ends, they take the money and they leave. See ya. Usually take the money and go start a new like business or move locations because it's a big payday for upper like senior leadership at a company and when they get acquired. It's one of the main reasons why they negotiate so heavily. So with that in mind, there's a strong push to get Marathon out the door before then and let whoever takes the reins after that, be it Sony or Bungie, worry about how it's sustained. Yep. You don't care when you're not there.
Yeah, this yeah. I haven't thought about that much, but it's like yeah, that yeah, the whole acquisition, like there's almost like a deadline to it kind of thing. It's like a contract, right? So
Oh yeah.
like whenever that runs out.
100%,
It's like,
dude.
oh.
Yeah, it's like I did what I was supposed to do. See ya. I mean, this has happened with people that are like senior management. You got to remember to get to senior level, you probably been in the business, in the industry for a minimum 15 years.
Yeah.
Those are older people, typically, depending on the industry, obviously. But if you're in your 50s, you're 55, your senior management, your multi-$100 million company, you get acquired by multiple billion-dollar companies. You get the payday of like, oh wait, when I get to 2026, everything's vested. I could sell everything I have for $4 million and be good, dude. You could live like a king off $4 million just in investments,
Mm.
and that's an easy trade-off. At 55, bro, I'm out. See ya. I'm moving out of Cali. I'm moving to Florida on a Miami beachfront. That's what I'm doing.
Taxes? I don't know what those are, Chief. Let's
I
get
don't
it.
even know. Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Oh man.
So, yeah, let's finish up this article and keep it rolling. So, a marathon and a sprint. Bungie has found itself rocked by a number of major shakeups in recent years that have tanked morale at the Destiny studio and left its future uncertain. Sony officially acquired the studio in mid 2022, with the promise it would largely retain a semblance of freedom as an independent subsidiary. While sources say that's largely remained true, Bungie has struggled to meet key financial targets. Destiny 2 significantly underperformed last year. In October, Bungie laid off roughly 100 of its then 1,200 employees amid greater cost cutting measures that saw Marathon delayed to 2025 and employee benefits slashed, further damaging the mood internally. Dude, my employee benefits are slashed. I'm looking for a new job
That's a
ASAP.
yeah, dude. I'm out. They don't.
I'm
I'm
in
out, bro.
America when I went on a rant like last week about how your health insurance and benefits, your retirement is all tied to an employer.
It's the only reason to work,
Yeah, that's
arguably.
like, on God, dude, there's no support system in this country. I have to work to make sure I don't die or go in massive amounts of debt
So
for
I can
getting
live a
like,
healthy life and not.
yeah, in this economy.
Exactly.
So, notably, multiple sources at the time and since have shared that Sony has largely left the studio to sort out its own troubles and was not responsible for the layoffs, with CEO Pete Parsons taking responsibility. Well, respect to him. A lot of CEOs nowadays, they don't really take responsibility anymore.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And last little paragraph, and then we'll move on to the main hidden article. So, however, sources at the time also told IGN that when leaders were asked if they had considered taking pay cuts prior to making layoff decisions, one responded that Bungie was not that type of company. Internally, the sentiment is only growing that the final shape needs to succeed for Bungie to avoid further internal turmoil. Neither Bungie nor Sony respond to IGN's request for comment. Ooh. Destiny
Mm.
2's been out since 2017, brother, and they still got
True.
DLCs coming out. Will they make enough money, or are the execs going to take the money and run?
I don't know, man. It's looking like the latter. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
The outside looking
It,
in.
it's not looking good, man. I kind of feel bad because Bungie was so well renowned. They kind of botched it with Destiny 1, regained some steam with Destiny 2, and now you have cultures of people just losing benefits, losing probably bonuses. You're not having as much success as you were before. And it's tough, dude.
And there's that underlying seeping anxiety of am I gonna get to keep my job after doing this?
Yeah,
That's oh man.
your job, health insurance. Can I afford to live in this town? Which I'm pretty sure Bungie is still based in Seattle. It's not cheap there, man. It's really not.
Yeah. It's yeah. Yeah. It's West Coast, baby. It's
Let's see.
that's
I'm
yikes.
looking up their locations. Let's see. Bungie locate. Oh, that is. Oh my goodness, that's an old Bungie forum. Holy moly, 2006. I'm pretty sure it's still based in Seattle. Yeah, it offered public tours of our studio. So let's see. Marathon, Bungie.net. Just trying to look real quick. I'm pretty sure it's still Kirkland. No, Bellevue, Washington. Looks like
Bellevue.
their only location, which is just outside of Seattle.
Bellevue, huh?
Yeah, Bellevue. It's on the other side of I think it's Bellevue. Yeah, Bellevue. Belay. It's not Bellevue.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
don't I
it's on
think
the other side of the bay.
oh man.
Well, not the bay, the lake. My bad. Lake Washington.
That cost of living goes crazy, huh?
Absolutely insane. And they're not the only like massive employer out there. 1,200 people is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot of people. Jeez.
Yeah, man. But that's all of the main articles I got for you. But I know you had a big article that you wanted to get to about. I guess it's not even really an article. It's more like a React
Yeah.
content
Yeah.
of a list
Yeah.
of what's been going on with EA
Listen,
games.
I think it's we don't do this often, Mike, but I think it's time every now and again just to throw in an article just so we can talk about some history of gaming or like some fun topic to discuss. And Game Rant really does a good job of just throwing together lists, just games or whatever. There was a couple to choose from this week. I decided to go with this. We're gonna see what the best EA games from every year in the 2010s was. So just going through all the 2010s, 2010, 2019, all that. We're gonna see what the best games were because.
Can I take a couple of quick guesses?
Oh, go for it, dude.
So there's gonna be at least a FIFA game.
Gotta be
20. I think it's gonna be 2013 or 2014 FIFA. That game is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I think it's 2013. The next one is probably gonna be. I kind of want to say Star Wars Battlefront because it was such a good financial success, and I don't know the metric in which they're going with here.
Yeah.
So that's a bold prediction here. Maybe we'll see a Star Wars Battlefront game. And obviously, they own Battlefield, do they not?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So Battlefield is going to make an appearance for sure.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I mean,
what's your early predictors?
Battlefield is shown here. Dragon Age is shown here. Maybe some Dragon Age, possibly. I think that's true. Battlefront's not bad. Like I don't like I know Apex. I mean, Apex was 2019. I mean, I would think maybe that could be 2019.
Apex got to be on there, yeah. Titanfall was like 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was when the Xbox One came out. So yeah, around then.
Jeez,
could be.
Old.
So yeah, I don't know. We're gonna go through the list. I'm excited for this. I want to see and just full context. We're going into this blind. I didn't look at this. Mike didn't look at this. We're just we're going one at a time here. We're gonna see. So
they're going off Metacritic.
Oh,
snap!
Okay,
so it's not has nothing
like
to do with sales.
Legitimate critical. Critical.
Okay. Let's go.
All right.
I'm excited.
So, whilst EA is known for a good number of years sports games, they also produce a whole host of other games across multiple genres, spanning from the likes of adventure, horror, RPG, and more. Whilst players have often had mixed feelings about EA, they have brought gamers a fair share of decent titles as a publication. Founded in 1982, the studio has only increased popularity and is easily one of the most recognizable names in game development. Lasting over 40 years in the industry, as EA continued to grow, so did its catalog. 2010s were no exception, as EA released a vast amount of games, including some truly memorable experiences for players. While why not read it below and see what the year's standout titles were? So we're going to start off 2010, Mike. Mass Effect 2. 2010.
Not that shocking now that you think about it. I didn't think it was 2010. I thought it was 2009.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I thought it was too. I felt like it was earlier than 2010, but yeah, I guess Mass Effect
January, early January, late January of 2010.
Yeah, it was like right at the start of 2010. Yeah, action RPG.
It's a high Metacritic. 96,
I mean, 96 Metascore. That's pretty good. I mean, Mass Effect 2, man. Like, I mean, the trilogy has since come out. Yeah, it's like it's kind of a big thing. And Andromeda was Andromeda. We don't necessarily need to talk about Andromeda. It was a flaming pile of garbage, but the first three games are really good. So so 2010 goes to Mass Effect 2. So 2011, to continue on, was Dead Space 2. I didn't even think about Dead Space. Oh man,
I didn't either, man.
Oh, that's EA. I forgot about that. I guess Visceral made it, but EA published it.
That's the thing. It's like EA is so big and they publish so many games. It's kind of interesting. Like I completely forgot. To me, I would have been like, oh, that's just Visceral Games. EA published it. Oh crap. Okay, I guess that is an EA game.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Dead Space got the remake recently, so that's kind of seen the light again. But it's crazy. This is also another January release. It was January 25th of 2011 when this came out. So it's like you got some early year bangers coming out. Kind of interesting. But yeah, nice survival game. Yeah, but yeah, it's a couple of things. Dead Space 2 is everything James Cameron's Aliens was to Ridley Scott's Alien. Is what they describe. I thought they described in the article.
Fair.
That's pretty fair. But yeah, a really solid survival horror game, and I feel like it's kind of there's not too many survival horror games, so if you want to check out, it's probably Dead Space. 2012,
90 score is good.
You didn't even think about Need for Speed, Mike. Need for Speed, most wanted.
You know why I didn't think about Need? So I played all of the Need for Speeds. I absolutely love them. I've seen the movies. I'm big into it. The reason why I wouldn't include EA on like the top game on here, and you're gonna notice this, I'm sure of it. EA had their own servers for freaking ever, man. I think they still have their own servers. So it was like you would log in if you're an Xbox Live player. I'm sure it was the same thing with PlayStation because PlayStation has their own PlayStation Network, right? You would load in the game and then you were forced to get off the Xbox Live servers, which were good at the time. Not so much now, but they were good at the time. And then you'd switch over to EA only servers and they play like trash, dude. It was like the worst online experience ever. They were trash. And that's why I wouldn't even think of Need for Speed because I was lagging all the time and there was collisions in the game. So you'd
Yeah.
lag into people or they would like lag into you and bounce into you and you like shove you off the map. It's terrible.
Yeah, bad experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about this is the amount of platforms Most Wanted came out on Need for Speed.
All of them.
Android, iOS, PC, PS3, PS Vita, Wii U, Xbox 360. It's like seemingly everything. Yeah, it was like the height of all those platforms.
Good game though, dude. It was such a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't even think that is that screenshot even from the game. Yeah, no, it's not. I thought they would have took the infamous BMW M3
oh yeah,
like box art that that game was phenomenal. They made the movie off of this game.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Sure. Need for Speed Most Wanted gave players a true open world racing experience. Remember, cars were discoverable from the get-go?
Yep.
The city was a great urban playground to explore. You remember this, Mike?
I remember it vividly. I remember driving around drifting everywhere. It was a great game.
Great game. Great memories. Besides the online experience. But anyways.
Yeah.
2013 was Battlefield 4. There you go. Battlefield game making the list.
You know it's going to be on here at least another time.
Yeah, I mean, Metascore was 81.
Not good.
Yeah,
goes back to what I was saying about the servers. I'm sure of it, dude.
Yeah. I remember I remember Battlefield 3 was really good, and Battlefield 4 came out, and it was like I think that was kind of arguably when it sort of peaked, I think, because you had like Battlefield like that 1 or something like that. I think was the next one where it was like the old school
World War
I.
World
War 1. So maybe there was that. I mean, Battlefield 4 I feel like was like from a modern setting, I feel like that was where it was like that was it. It was Battlefield 4, so
they had destructive elements. I think the meta score is so low because if you can see the platforms here to remind you, it came out on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4. And when those elements in the game were like falling down, like the skyscraper toppling over, like all the different things that you could have happen, those consoles, the older generation consoles, were struggling. So I'm sure that some of the players might have been like, "Nah, this ain't good."
Yeah,
but there's always superior experience on the newer gen.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate timing between generations at that point. So it's like I think the game may have suffered a little bit trying to appease both platforms, but I think But yeah, I mean overall, it said they deliver some of the best maps that fans of the series have played with, large scale battles.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
new modes exactly too.
Yeah, and the article actually says it didn't quite hit the same heights as Battlefield 3. So yeah, I mean Battlefield 3 I remember was huge.
That was crazy.
Yeah. But
great story too.
But yeah, it did have a really good story. I remember like some of the opening scenes in that. It was like seeing that the first time I was like, whoa, like, this is crazy.
Dude, it came out on Game Pass not too long ago. 4 years ago, and I played it all the way through in a matter of like 2 or 3 days. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I was so excited. Went to multiplayer. There's still people playing it. Really cool.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that was the 2013 game. 2014, Mike, Dragon Age Inquisition. Like I said, Dragon Age game. I expect
another BioWare.
Yeah, Inquisition I feel like is one of the better ones that like came out. I feel like in the Dragon Age series. There's Inquisition. I think Dragon Age Origins is another like really big one. Inquisition though, it was kind of like, again, it was sort of cross generation. But yeah, it says the game was truly an RPG fan's dream, as it was one of the few great games that cast players as nobody who they could sculpt into the adventure they wanted. The game featured an incredible campaign filled with lovable companions and great gameplay mechanics that kept RPG fans and casual gamers alike hooked for months on end. So yeah, a good solid RPG, Mike.
Wild.
Yeah, I didn't play too much Dragon Age, but yeah, 85 Metascore. There you go. Not a bad game. We move on to 2015, Mike. The year I went to college. It's crazy thing about it. Battlefront, baby. That was your 2015 game. I love the Metascore though, 73.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. The first one wasn't that great, but it was just awesome to see everything come back.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, it was like it looked gorgeous. It was really cool. And then Battlefront 2 came out shortly thereafter, and it was equally fantastic. But it took a lot of time to get past the microtransactions and the servers that I mentioned before. But it's still as good as the games were, they never lived up to the original, which tough.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, huh? Yeah, a little bit of the article says while there were some issues with Star Wars Battlefront, such as the fact that it lacked a campaign mode and a pure focus on the original trilogy only, the sheer amount of detail placed within the game didn't stop players from having a blast across various iconic planets in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, no
Star
campaign.
Wars hits, dude.
Crazy. But hey, if anyone were to make a multiplayer Star Wars game shooter, make it DICE, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice 2015. 2016, we see Titanfall 2, which has kind of had a bounce back a little bit too, especially recently.
Yeah, it did a couple of times. Yeah.
I mean, Titanfall was Titanfall, you know. I feel like that game came out, a lot of people played it. Titanfall 2, I felt like it was like, yeah, it had a nice kick at the beginning, kind of died off, but then it sort of came back, you know, more recently. And it says, the article says, Titanfall 2 is perhaps one of EA's greatest ever shooters. Still, it was almost dead on arrival due to its release schedule, dropping the sci-fi shooter not only the week after Battlefield 1, but also the week before Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And Infinite Warfare was arguably one of like the worst CODs in my opinion. So it's like,
yeah, agreed.
Even with the advantage of the sequel launching on multiple consoles, unlike its predecessor, Titanfall 2 became a cult classic, and for good reason. Respawn Entertainment not only created a fresh campaign for the shooter, but it also was one of the best shooters in the first-person shooter. Best stories in a first-person shooter to date. The levels were so well designed, and the story allowed players not only to experience a great narrative, but also learn the ropes ready to take the fight online. The Titan gameplay was better balanced, and shooting was perfect, and the movement mechanics were so incredibly addictive. In short, it wasn't just EA's best game in 2016, it's also one of EA's best games to date. Dang, they're praising it. Okay, I like this. I mean, hey.
I think that's fair.
89 Metascore.
Those are all very fair. Yep.
Yeah, we're working with the banger here. And that movement and the mechanics of that game were later moved on into Apex. I mean, it was so smooth and used a lot of it in Apex. Yeah, very, Titanfall 2, true banger, you know? Respawn out here. Respawn, one of the, like, there's like DICE, which is great FPS, but then you got Respawn, who just like, it's Respawn.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. Respawn's really good.
Yeah. We move on to 2017. Here it is, Mike. Not what we predicted the year-wise, but hey, FIFA 18, 2017.
I know why, okay? You might not know this or might not remember this, but because you're actually just recently got into the world of football. Soccer.
Yeah, I will say, I played FIFA 13 because I got really into like KSI videos and stuff like that, like way back in the day, and like a lot of those FIFA creators. And I had like friends that were playing it, so like I got into FIFA 13, but then after that I stopped playing like after 13.
Okay. Well, as you can see, they're showcasing Cristiano Ronaldo in his Real Madrid, like when Real Madrid was basically on top of the map. At the same time, a lot of people argue that this is when Cristiano Ronaldo was in his peak. The 2016 season, he ended up winning the Euros with Portugal. Unbelievable accomplishment for that to happen. I consider that way more astonishing than Messi winning like what Copa America or whatever it was, not Copa America, Common Bowl. It's just phenomenal. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I think that has a lot to do with it, and I also think it's at the same time when Messi's super popular, and all of that combined with just EA making a quality sports game. It's like, dude, this is when it all comes together perfectly. Reality of like the players that you're trying to play as in the game and the quality of the game being launched by EA.
Okay. Yeah, they said it was off the back of FIFA 17, which had a nice, well reception. Gabe continued to build on that success, adding a new chapter to the newly introduced story mode of Alex Hunter, as well as continuing to improve on modes of the game, including the ever-present Ultimate Teams. It was still a great soccer experience, even if the game tended to heavily favor the thrill of attack, making the defense aspect of the game weaker than it should have been. It's hard to deny that the game didn't quite live up to the standards set by its predecessor, but it was still a great game that managed to hoist itself up to be EA Games' best game in 2017. Okay.
Yeah, not
It's
bad.
still
Not bad.
not bad
Still a
at all.
Metascore of 84, but then we plummet on number 2.
Oh man, 10 best FIFA games ever. There's also another article. I just really want to dig into the weeds. Yeah, number 2, A Way Out, 2018. I'm actually kind of surprised by this. I mean, I personally really like A Way Out. I played most of it with a buddy of mine. We still have yet to finish it. But it's I don't know. It's one of those games similar to, like I said, Hazelight Studios made it. It's it's the It Takes Two team. I think they make really good like companion games. So you just
Oh, they
hop
do.
on person.
Yeah.
They're one of the few studios that consistently makes these kind of games too. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's really. I just love how creative it is. It's outside the box, So I like those kind of games. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Mike? You played A Way Out?
I have not, but I have seen plenty of what's it called? YouTube like streamers getting together, and then I think I saw actually Ludwig playing it.
Okay.
Maybe he did like a playthrough. I don't remember if it was him per se, but I do remember it being very entertaining just to watch.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a very interesting idea, and you've talked highly of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a great game. It's one of those things like I feel like the games that Hazelight makes is very much like if you're trying to get people into video games, it's a good way to like have like your partner or like a friend who maybe doesn't play games. Like if you want them to check something
Yeah.
out, it's like a good introductory, I think. So it's kind of it's my opinion on those games. But yeah, 78 Metascore. I mean, I could see it. I would rank it higher, but that's just because I like more narrative focus kind of. Even co-op narrative focused games, I feel like for the most part are good, and I think the story's pretty good. I don't think it's like terrible or anything. So, 78's not bad.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool though that that A Way Out actually was significant enough for the people reviewing this to be like, oh yeah, that was probably the best game they made in 2018. So, I'll take it.
Yeah, but it only has a Metascore of 78, and I don't find that to be all that good.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I'd rank it higher, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do feel like there's probably a negative review bias when it's kind of one of those games you can only play through once in a way.
Yeah, it's true too. I mean, there's not a lot of replayability, so
Yeah,
it's hard for people to find their money's worth nowadays. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
that's a fact.
In the final game, 2019. Oh, you already know
Could
it's
there be
Apex
any other?
Legends. Yeah, I mean,
Could there be any other?
you already know, dude. It's Apex Legends. I was telling you, man. I literally thought I was like, Apex Legends has got to be on this list. There's no way it's not. Sure enough. Yeah. So ever since Fortnite burst on the scene in 2017, studios and publishers were trying to make success and getting in on the slice of action. Fortnite continued to increase popularity, so the number of battle royale games, each hoping to match the game's success. One such game that delivered a great experience and challenged Fortnite was Respawn Entertainment's free-to-play team-based hero shooter Apex Legends. Set within the Titanfall universe, but no Titans in sight, Respawn Entertainment crafted a 60-player battle royale hero shooter that saw teams of 3 drop into the ever-enclosed arena, pitching players against each other in hopes that their team would come out victorious. It was the same addictive loop that had hooked so many with games like Fortnite, but Apex Legends' interesting heroes and well-refined gunplay made this free-to-play shooter stand out and continue to grow its fan base. In fact, the game is almost 5 years on and continues to keep many gamers coming back for more, with a consistent slew of new gameplay updates dropping with the game in full swing for the 20th season. 20 seasons, easy anti-cheat. Bam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, quick little update now that you got the easy anti-cheat. Oh, did I close the article? Oh, shoot. Okay, but basically they said that they've figured out the exploit and they updated the game. It was within the game and it's not possible yet. However, they're not restarting the finals of the ALGS.
Interesting.
And they haven't officially released a statement of how they got in. So
it was within Apex, apparently.
Allegedly. Keep in mind, like, yeah, sure, it's Respawn Entertainment, but Easy Anti-Cheat's also owned by Epic Games. I'm sure there's a bunch of high-level execs that get in a little boardroom of like, how are we gonna handle this? Like, how much do you want to tell the public? So
yeah, allegedly. That's a good update.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
What's up? Yeah, Mike. I don't know, that was the top 10 EA games of the decade, 2010s. What do you think? I think it's a good list, solid list. What are you thinking?
I think we got some years where it just wasn't particularly good. So obviously 2018 with A Way Out only being a 78 Metascore, not particularly well. FIFA 18. Well, actually, that was fine. That's a decent Metascore. But there was one here. Yeah, the worst one had to be 2015.
Yep.
And Star Wars Battlefront
Yep.
only having a Metascore of 73. How bad was it for EA? Maybe they had a bunch of different things going on with the studios. Bunch of different, I don't know. I don't even know, man. Like, just not that good, obviously. 73 is very low for Metascore.
2015, weird year. 2018, weird year. It's kind of just what it is. They definitely see the dips in years, but yeah. I don't know, for those part, especially the early 2010s. That's some bangers, dude. Are we kidding?
They really are, man. Let's see. Oh, that was when Battlefield Hardline came out. That was also Need for Speed No Limits, NBA Live 16, Microsoft The Sims. It looks like an expansion. There was a Star Wars game. Yeah, a couple of expansions in The Sims. Yeah, and then Star Wars Battlefront. So it was just a slow year.
Yeah.
Looks like FIFA 16, NHL 16, they weren't particularly good. Battlefield Hardline, I completely forgot that existed.
Dude, I did too. I remember that was not the best Battlefield game though.
No, it was not.
Oh man.
But I don't think it's a terrible list. I think this is very interesting. We should probably do this more often at the end of our episodes.
Yeah.
Like cover a general thing of hey, this is the overall news, the weekly news that you guys are interested in, and then at the very end do a little bit of a react content. This is a good idea, and I thank you for it.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Star Wars Fallen Order. The Jedi Fallen Order. Really good 2019 game that was overshadowed by Apex, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Very true. That was a good year for EA.
Yeah. It really was. Then the pandemic. And then
I did click on the top 10, I think it said, FIFA games. Number 1 was FIFA 14.
There you go.
Okay. There we go. I knew it was one of the FIFAs in like 13 or 14 that was like amazing.
Yeah.
But Dragon Age Inquisition beat them out. So.
Brother. Good game. Solid game. Can't deny.
Yes, sir. But we have held everybody for the last hour and 20 plus minutes here. And I think we got to let the people go, man. What do you think?
We got to cut it.
All right. Sick. Because I'm hungry. We got to go. My dog is over here, passed out in the background. If anybody's watching the video, you can check him out. Just look at him.
Look at that boy.
He's unconscious. He had a good day today. So we're going to let you guys go. If you're interested in reading any of these articles yourself, links are in the description. We also have timestamps, by the way. So every time you come in, we know these are long episodes. You might not want to listen to the whole thing, or you just want to skip around and see what's going on. Timestamps below as well. Feel free to join the Discord. We do have an active news feed that posts all articles, kind of spams the living crap out of you for Kyle and I over here. But we have that channel is actually hidden for the general public. Posts everything every hour. But the other ones are pretty much curated towards different categories. Just like I find it enjoyable. Yeah, I guess that's it. Social media is down there too. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hang out with us. Tell us how you feel about things. Comment on the video. All that stuff.
Watch out for that short form content. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. We're gonna be. Kyle's over here gonna start crushing the shorts, the verticals. So appreciate you, Kyle.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, let's wrap it up. Let's just wrap it up. Thank you all for joining. This is the M2 podcast. We appreciate you listening. I'm MikeWillEatU, KyleHeath over here, and we'll catch you next week. Take it easy.
Keep gaming, everyone.
Yeah, keep gaming.